Today, I'm giving you an overview for the hardcover of Static Season 1. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. On this channel, I talk a lot about comics, so if you're interested in overviews, reviews, unboxings, consider subscribing. Now, today, I've got a very special overview for you. Today, we're taking a look at the hardcover for Static Season 1. Now, if you know me, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, then you know how big of a fan I am of Milestone Media and the Dakota universe. So Static, Icon, Hardware, Blood Syndicate, and all of that. Now, I've done a whole deep dive into the history of Static and sort of into the history of Milestone. So I'll leave a link in this video so you can check that out. So I don't have to spend too much time because I get excited, right? But the short version is Milestone Media was a publisher, or is a publisher, started in the early 90s by 4 Black men with the goal of adding more diversity and representation to comics. And specifically, having diversity in thoughts and backgrounds and as well as ethnicity. So basically, through this imprint, they ended up working with DC Comics to publish their books. And we've got a bunch of new characters. And the most popular of these characters ended up being Static. Now, by the time the Static Shock animated series came out in the early 2000s, Milestone Media had pretty much already ceased to exist as a comic book publisher. And late last year, in 2021, we finally got the return of the Milestone Media titles in the Dakota universe to print. So we've been seeing the back issues listed on DC Universe Infinite, so you can go read them digitally. We had the 1,300-page Milestone Compendium that was released. And now we're starting to get collected editions for the first season of brand new Milestone titles. So when Milestone came back last year, the first of the titles to return was, of course, Static. And I'm very, very excited about it. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and show you this hardcover, and we'll talk about more of it as I flip through the pages for you. All right, I had to stop myself. I get so excited about Milestone that anytime I do a video, it kind of ends up being a full history of the publisher. We've got that other places, but let's take a look at this hardcover. This is Static Season 1 from the Milestone Returns line, which, like I said, was the brand new relaunch that started in 2021. Before I break this open, let's take a look at what it collects. So on the back, as you can see, this collects the Milestone Returns Infinite Edition, number 0, and collects Static Season 1, issues 1 through 6. It was a 6-issue miniseries, so this has got everything. Everything that you need to know to get into this new Dakota universe is right here. So you're not missing anything. So the new era of the Milestone universe begins here. Bullied nerd Virgil Hawkins wasn't the kind of kid you'd normally find on the streets at the protest. But like everyone else in the city of Dakota, he was fed up. Unfortunately, the first time he stood up to raise his voice, the world turned upside down. The experimental tear gas released that day left some of his classmates maimed or dead, but it left Virgil and others with stunning new abilities. Virgil has power inside him now, real power, the ability to channel and manipulate electromagnetic fields, but there's anger burning inside him too. What is he supposed to do about all this? And first and foremost, what is he supposed to do about his bullies now that they've got superpowers too? A dynamic, creative team of new comics voices and Milestone Media veterans have joined forces to open up a new chapter in the story of the most iconic Black teen hero in comics history. And like every classic Milestone tale, it'll take you to places you could never even dream. So that's what we've got in here. Now, before we get into it, I got to give a huge shout out to Milestone Media and to everyone on the team, to Dennis Cowan, who has shown love to this channel several times, to Nikolas draper-ivey, who is the artist on this collection, and to Reggie, Hudlin, and to all the founders of Milestone as well, Michael Davis, Dennis Cowan, Derek Dingle, and of course the late Dwayne McDuffie. Now, I've told you what this collects. We're taking a look at this. By the way, this cover artwork is by Kari Randolph, who also did covers for the 2011 Static Shock New 52 series. Most recently, he co-created Excellence with Brandon Thomas, who writes another Milestone title, ironically. But anyway, this art by Kari Randolph is dope. I always say, like, if I could draw, I would want to draw like Kari Randolph. So there's that. So let's take a look at what this looks like under the dust jacket. So right here, we've actually got a wraparound cover, and this is the cover. This was a variant cover by Nicholas Draper-Ivey, who is the series artist. But this was a cover for issue 6, if I'm not mistaken. It was a variant. Now, with Milestone returning to publication, I kind of went crazy. I had been collecting all the classic Milestone stuff for almost 2 years when they finally announced that they were going to do new Milestone stuff. And so I had to get every book, every cover, and I've got all but one of these. But anyway, love this wraparound. You get like a little glimpse into all the major players in the series, and we'll talk about them as we go on. But let's go ahead and crack this open. So right off the bat, you'll notice that this has a beautiful design. So you've got this sort of like cryptic lettering from the header right here. I don't even know if you can make that out on camera, but you've got that sort of lettering pattern there, and it's replicated here on these bookend pages, along with, very low opacity photos by Nick Draper-Ivey. So that's cool. Instead of just regular colored pages, I thought. And here we go. Static Season 1. Again, this image by Nick Draper-Ivey is super dope. Now, you do get credits. You can see this artwork is amazing. You do get credits. So it's written by Vita Ayala, also with contributions from Reggie, Hudlin, and Greg Pak, both of whom write on the Milestone Returns issue that is collected in here. The artwork here, mostly handled by Nicholas Draper-Ivey, but for issues 1 through 4, Nick is working over layouts by Chris Cross, who is also a legendary Milestone artist, known for his original work on Blood Syndicate. But yeah, and so you've got other names in here, again, from that Milestone Returns Infinite Edition. Colors in here are mostly handled by Chris Sotomayor, and they are amazing. So, and again, Static's created by Dwayne McDuffie, Derek Dingle, Dennis Cowan, and Michael Davis. Shout out to the master of the universe, Michael Davis. So after we got the credits, we've got this introduction by Reggie Hudlin's little foreword. And I love that. And I love that there's a shout out to Christopher Priest, who was among the team that helped to start Milestone originally, though he left the company before they ever saw any publication. So I thought that's a nice inclusion there. And then you jump right in. So this book actually starts with the Milestone Returns Infinite Edition issue. I do love that we get virgin covers. So you get to enjoy the full Dennis Cowan artwork here on this cover. And what this collects is the Big Bang. So the original Milestone universe centered around an event called the Big Bang, which was basically a big gang fight where the police brought experimental tear gas, thinking they were going to kill all the gang members or tag them for arrest later. That didn't happen. A lot of people end up getting superpowers or becoming metahumans. And that was the original Big Bang. And this new Big Bang, I won't spoil it, but let's just say it doesn't start at a gang fight. It does start at a protest, a human rights protest, or a Black Lives Matter protest. So I won't, spoil all of it. But here in this issue, this Milestone Returns issue was basically like the jumping on point for the new Dakota universe. So if you never read the comics back in the 90s, no worries. This is a total reboot. You don't have to. So you get a glimpse into how Static got his powers. You meet Hardware, who comes into play later on in the Static series. You also meet Icon and Rocket here. And you also get a small glimpse into what will later come in Blood Syndicate. So that's really cool. Here's Icon. And this Icon image is by Chris Cross. It's really good. Some of my favorite art in that Milestone Returns issue was by Chris Cross. And then we got some pages here. These are Dennis Cowan pages. So that is the Milestone Returns Infinite issue to give you a good, understanding of what this whole universe is about. And then we jump into Static Season 1. Again, this cover by Kari Randolph is dope. Now, this book, if you've watched the Static Shock animated series or you've read the Static comic from 1993, then you have an idea of who Virgil Hawkins is and kind of what the character is all about. This doesn't really change much about his character, but it does give you a lot of insight as to what he's feeling, what he's going through after, having gotten these powers about a week ago is where we are in the story. He just got these powers, and he's feeling different. He doesn't quite have control over them. And as he's learning to gain control of his powers, he's also kind of learning to gain control of his emotions. But what's really cool about this series is you get a huge glimpse into his family life, how they deal with him having these powers. If you watch the animated series, then you know that, one of the villains, Hot Streak, is a big deal, and he's in this as well. This book really does do a great job of combining some of the best aspects of the animated series with the best aspects of the comics. Now, I can't go any further in this without giving a huge shout out or drawing attention to the art. So this art by Nikolas Draper-Ivey, like I said, for the first 4 issues, he's done over layouts by Chris Cross. And so the storytelling is awesome. And then for issues 5 and 6, he really lets loose, and it's even better. But this sort of anime style, Reggie Hudlin in the intro calls it Afro anime. It's just really, really good. It gives a dynamism to this whole presence on the page. You can see there's a lot of symbolism in it as well. It's funny, there's a scene where before his powers, you've got this interaction with his family. They're all at the table and it's all light, everything's all good. Then you get the same thing. So yeah, here we go. We're all light before he's got his powers. And then after he's got his powers, everything's all dark. He's feeling clouded. There's a lot of symbolism here. So that's really dope. The colors are great. Nick Draper-Ivey does the colors himself as well. And I could spend another hour just talking about the art and all the things I like about it. But I think the part that really stands out to me are the character designs, the clothing choices, the hair choices, and then the actual page layouts, like what he chooses, when he chooses to break a panel, how he composes his pages. This is really dope. And what's interesting is Nick Draper-Ivey had done some independent projects before, but when he was hired by Milestone, they basically just found him on social media because he did some character designs that, got him noticed by Dennis Cowan. So that's really cool. Once again, these covers by Kari Randolph are just amazing. So the story of Static Season 1 is basically Virgil is dealing with the immediate aftermath of having powers, right? He's been bullied all his life. And so at first, when he gets his powers, he's not necessarily using them for the right reasons. He's not necessarily showing the restraint that he should be. And that gets him into some trouble. So that brings the fight to his front door. And, as he learns to deal with that, as he's handling that, by the way, this is issue 4, I believe. And you've got work where this is basically Chris Cross doing all of the work here on these scenes. So there's a little bit of a change in the art style. Still very good composition. Great stuff. But anyway, so as he's dealing with, kind of the pushback from the fight that he started at his home, he's learning that this is a lot bigger than just, a few bullies, right? There might be some levels of government conspiracy here. There may be other kids that were affected by the Big Bang that might be taken advantage of. And I'll let you read the rest. I won't go into it any further. Now, again, so I'll let you read it, but we find out that there may be other kids that are affected. There might be levels of government conspiracy. And Virgil, aka Static, he's trying to decide what he wants to do with himself. He's kind of always wanted to be a superhero. So he's taking advantage of that. But he's got to decide what kind of hero he's going to be. Is he going to be, like a Punisher, like an anti-hero? Is he going to be like the good guy? Like, who is Virgil going to be? If you're familiar with the original Static series, then you can kind of guess how it's going to end up. But what I love about this is just seeing the journey to get there. Now, we're in issue 5 now. I should probably like stop scrolling through the art, but just look at this. Look, this is Nick Draper-Ivey handling the layouts and finishes all himself. So you see it here versus like, say, here. It's still great, but this ain't that. And like I said, so this collection just gets better and better as you go on. And I'm going to skip this final issue altogether because there are some reveals that I want you guys to see yourselves. Now, what I love about this is we got at the end of issue 6, Virgil will return in Static Season 2 in summer 2022. We're in summer now, so I'm expecting to see something in the solicits soon, or maybe it got pushed back to the fall, but either way, I'm excited because this really is just a jumping on point. And then you got some bonus material in the back. This is some extras that were added to the Milestone Returns preview. So this actually came out first. The first thing you saw when Milestone announced they were coming back was this like 17-page preview with all these different levels of the Dakota story. So again, you got art by Dennis Cowan. There's some art by Crisscross. And some of these things, this is teasing just kind of all these different aspects of the Milestone or Dakota universe that we haven't seen yet. Like this right here, this is a page from Duo, and Duo #1 just came out like 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording. So once you read this collection, it's got you caught up, right? So you can go and read Hardware, Icon, and Rocket when those come out later on in the fall. But I love that you get a sort of a preview as to what all is still in the works. Because like I said, the Dakota universe is vast, it's rich, and they can go really far with it or they can keep it close to the vest. Either way, it's going to be dope. Let's get into these extras though. So we've got Static Season 1 variant covers. So this is Nicholas Draper-Ivey. This is the old school variant by Sean Martinbrough for issue #1. Sean Martinbrough, if you're not aware, did inks for a lot of the original issues of Static, working with JPL, John Paul Leon, rest in peace. This is the 1 in 25 homage variant by Dennis Cowan. It's homaging the original Static #1 collector's edition. And then here was the team variant. So in order to even get this cover, your local comic shop had to order 250 copies of the original cover just to be eligible to buy any of these. So this one's a little bit more rare. They ended up doing a 1 per store variant that was just a black and white version of this as well. That's not included. This was a Things from Another World exclusive for issue #1. This is the Frankie's Comics exclusive for issue #1. And this is the only one I'm missing, by the way. I need to go ahead and buy that. Frankie's Comics is actually local to my area. I don't know why I don't have it yet. All right. And now we got some issues, some variants for issue 2. After issue #1, they just did 1 variant for each book. But Nicholas Draper-Ivey on these variant covers, most famous of which is probably this one. This is an homage to Akira, as you guys can see. Love this. This cover is sold out everywhere. If you're trying to find it, it's probably like $30, $30 to $40 now. But yeah, there's that. Then there's issue 5. And of course, that wraparound that we saw earlier for issue 6. So all in all, very, very cool. We got character designs. This was some of the original stuff when they first announced that that Milestone was coming back. These are the images they put out there. You got Robert Hawkins, you got Jean, you got Sharon. Robert Hawkins actually looks a lot like Dwayne McDuffie, but he's modeled after a few different people. And maybe one day I'll have Nicholas Draper-Ivey on the channel to kind of explain all of this himself. But yeah, and then here's an ad for the Milestone Compendium, which is out now. I will leave a link in the description below where you can order that compendium for about $40. It's again 1,300 pages, collecting like the first year of all the original Milestone titles. So that's dope. Once again, you got those same bookend pages, and that's the end of the book. So that was Static Season 1. And like I told you guys, this ended up being my favorite of the Milestone Returns titles. Hardware Season 1 was a very, very close second. What puts this ahead of it is the way that this book ends and how it sort of teases what's to come in the Static universe. Some of the characters they brought back from the animated show and from the comics past. Like there's a lot that is teased. And like I said, because they said we're getting a season 2, I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. I thought this was a great jumping on point, a great origin story, a great character study of Static, of Virgil. And I think everyone involved did a great job. There's a lot of pressure that comes with bringing back a character who is so popular, but has, so little kind of history in the mind of the consciousness, right? But anyway, Static Season 1, if I had to rate it, I'm probably give it like an 8.5, maybe even a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and it really, really sticks the landing. And so, it could just be recency bias, but that's how I feel about this story. Overall, it's a great buy. You definitely need to grab it. It's got a cover price of just $29.99. You can grab this book from our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. They're the best place to look for collected editions, but you can grab this for $20 at Organic Price Books. And if you use my coupon code BJKicks at checkout, you'll save an additional $2 on every order, every time. That's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed this overview and this brief history lesson as it pertains to Static and the Milestone universe. Hope you saw something you liked in this video. And if not, hey, that's cool. So you can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.